This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roland Ardines, to use this as an educational material.
Hello everyone, and the objective of this study is to discuss the origins and manifestations of global environments crisis, relate everyday encounters with pollution, global warming, desertification, ozone depletion, and examine the policies and programs of governments around the world that addresses the environmental crisis. Specifically, this question: what is the relationship of population growth to environment issues, food security, sustainability, development, and the future of globalization?
Global environmental crises have complex origins rooted in various interconnectedness factors, including historical, social, economic, and political dynamics. Here's an overview. Industrialization and technological advancement. The Industrial Revolution, which began in the late 18th century, marked a significant turning point. While it brought unprecedented economic growth and technological advancement, it also triggered widespread environmental degradation. The reliance on fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas lead to air and water pollution, habitat destruction, and climate change. Now, population growth. The global population has grown exponentially, particularly since the mid-20th centuries. The increase in population has put immense pressure on natural resources, leading to deforestation, overexploitation of fisheries, loss of biodiversity, and habitat destruction. Now, consumerism and overconsumption. The rise of consumerism, fueled by advertising and mass media, has promoted a culture of overconsumption. This has resulted in the depletion of natural resources, increasing waste generation and pollution. Now, the throwaway culture, characterized by a single-use plastic, disposable, and products, has exacerbated environmental problems. Now, political and economic factors. Political decisions and economic policies plays a crucial role in shaping environmental outcomes. Short-term economics interest often takes precedence over long-term environmental sustainability. Subsidies for industries such as fossil fuels can distort market and discourage investment in renewable energy sources. Additionally, weak environmental regulation and enforcement allows industries to externalize the cost of pollution and environmental degradation. Now, globalization. The interconnectedness of the global economy has led to the outsourcing of production and consumption patterns. While globalization has facilitated economic growth and development in many parts of the world, it has also led to the transfer of environmental impact to regions with lax environmental regulation. Moreover, the transportation of goods over long distance contributes to greenhouse gas emissions and air pollution. Climate change. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, industrial processes, and agricultural activities have increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to global warming and climate change. The impact of climate change, including rising temperatures, changing the precipitation patterns, more frequent extreme weather events, and sea level rise, exacerbate existing environmental problems and pose significant challenges to ecosystems and human societies. Now, social inequality and environmental justice. Environmental degradation disproportionately affects marginalized communities, including the indigenous peoples, low-income populations, and people of colors. These communities often bear the brunt of pollutions, environmental hazards, and climate change impacts while having limited access to resources and decision-making processes.
So I'm going to talk about relate everyday encounters with pollution, global warming, desertification, and ozone depletion. First is pollution. So we have air pollution and water pollution experienced in this area. In cities, the air often appears hazy, a direct effect of air pollution. This is especially noticeable during rush hour or near industrial areas. And when you step outside and experience poor air quality, it is an everyday encounter with air pollution. This pollution is caused by emissions from vehicles, industrial processes, and the burning of fossil fuels such as coal and petroleum. So breathing in polluted air can have harmful effects on your health and contribute to respiratory problems. Second is water pollution. Encountering trash in river, lakes, and ocean during recreational activities such as swimming or fishing. Next is global warming. So we experience extreme weather patterns. Experiencing hot summer, colder winters, or unexpected weather events can be a sign of global warming. Second is changing season. Observing shifts in the timing of seasons with spring arriving earlier or winter setting in later than usual indicates changes in climate patterns. Third is heat waves. Facing unusually prolonged periods of high temperature is a direct encounter with the effect of global warming. Third is desertification. So in desertification, we have solid degradation. In areas close to desert or arid region, observing soil erosion or the loss of fertile land for agriculture can indicate the onset of desertification. Second is water scarcity. Encountering water shortage or not just in a region but also in place where water used to be plentiful can be a sign of expanding effect of desertification. Third is loss of vegetation. Watching areas that were once green with vegetation turn barren over time, often due to overgrazing or deforestation, highlights the problem of desertification. Lastly is the ozone depletion. In ozone depletion, we have increased sunburns, an increase in the incidence of sunburns or skin damage affects spending less time in the sun that usual may indicate the effect of ozone layer depletion, which led to increased UV radiation reaching the earth. Second is fading materials. Observing materials and fabrics made more quickly than before can be a subtle indicator of increased UV radiation due to ozone depletion. Third is impact on wildlife. Encountering changes in local wildlife, especially in species sensitive to UV radiation like amphibians, can be an indirect sign of ozone depletion. In conclusion, everyday encounters with environmental issues serve as a reminders of ongoing challenges facing our planet. This experience, from the visible haze of pollution to the subtle changes in seasonal patterns, underscore the importance of addressing pollution, global warming, desertification, and ozone depletion. Awareness and action at the individual and collective levels are crucial in combating these global concerns.
The policies in the programs of government around the world that address the environmental crisis. So, the governments or the international cooperation participate in international forums. So they collaborate and they address the environmental challenges collectively. This includes their sharing knowledge, their helping through financial and also technology transfer that support the developing countries in their efforts to mitigate and adapt climate change. So first policy or programs of the government is the forest conservation and deforestation. So government have implemented programs to protect forests and promote reforestation efforts. So for an instance, the tropical rainforest is one of the helpful biome that make our earth live for long. Since these initiatives aim to this forest conservation is to reduce the deforestation rates, the preserve of biodiversity, and also the in tropical rainforests enhance their carbon sequestration. So this is very important since it prioritize the future. Next is the sustainable transportation initiatives. So government have been promoting sustainable transportation options to reduce the emissions or the smoke. So some of the answers that may help is supporting the electric vehicles, for example, the cars, electric cars, and also e-bike, and also expanding public transportation networks. So instead of owning a car, they expand the use of public transportation such as jeeps, like buses, to minimize the carbon emissions. And lastly, implementing policies that encourages walking and cycling. So instead of using those owning our cars, so they expand the public transportation networks. So lastly, the waste management policies. Government have implemented waste management policies to reduce waste generation, promote recycling and composting, and reduce the reliance on landfills. These policies often include regulations, incentives, and public education campaigns. So meaning, garbage and others are also one of the reasons why we have these pollutions, and we have to keep in our mind that there are future generations that need to experience the life we had now.
So, good day everyone. I am here to discuss about my topic, what is the relationship of population growth to environmental issues. So, the population growth and its relationship to environmental impacts or issue are highly interconnected and have far-reaching consequences. So, as the population of an area increases, the demand for resources and the strain of the environmental amplifies. One of the primary environmental impacts of population growth is deforestation. So, as more land is needed needed for housing, agriculture, and infrastructure, forests are cleared, leading to habitat loss, soil erosion, and a decline in biodiversity. So, another critical concern is the role of population growth in climate change. With a larger population, the demand for energy rises, resulting in increased consumption of fossil fuels. So, the burning of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to global warming and climate change. So the industrial activities associated with growing population further escalate greenhouse gas emission. So another example is water scarcity. Water scarcity is another pressing issue linked to population growth. As the population expands, the demand for water for drinking, sanitation, and underground sources can lead to water scarcity, depletion of aquifers, and ecological damage to aquatic ecosystems. So, this scarcity not only affects human population but also impacts the survival of various species and alters ecosystem. So, the population growth contribute to pollution through increased waste generation and inadequate waste management practices. With more people, there is a higher production of plastics, chemicals, and pollutants, which, when released into the air, water, and soil through industrial pollution and improper disposal, pose risks to the environment and human health. Pollution disrupts ecosystem, threatens wildlife, threatens wildlife, and exacerbates environmental problems. While population growth is not the sole cause of these issues, it amplifies their severity. So, while facing these challenges, it requires sustainable resource management, conservation efforts, clean energy adoption, improved waste management, responsible consumption, and policies promoting family planning.
So, what is the relationship of food population growth to food security? So, population growth is intricately linked to food security, presenting both challenges and opportunities. As the global population continues to expand, so does the demand for food. This escalating demand exerts immense pressure on agriculture systems to produce more food. If food production fails to keep pace with population growth, it can lead to food shortages, increased food prices, and heightened food insecurity. The relationship fu- between population growth and food security is complex and multifaceted. With more people to feed, competition for essential resources such as land, water, and energy intensifies. This heightened competition can result in overexploitation of resources, environmental degradation, and loss of biodiversity, all of which can adversely affect food security. So, additionally, as incomes rise alongside population growth, dietary patterns often shift with an increased consumption of resource intensive foods like meat and dairy. So, these dietary changes further strain agricultural systems and can exacerbate food insecurity. Moreover, um, urbanization, a common consequence of population growth, alters land use patterns, diminishing the availability of agricultural land and reducing the capacity of agricultural systems to meet the growing demand for food. So, furthermore, population growth increases the vulnerability of communities to the impacts of climate change, such as extreme weather events, droughts, floods, and changing precipitation patterns, which can disrupt food production and exacerbate food insecurity. So, to effectively address the challenges posed by population growth to food security, it is imperative to invest in sustainable agriculture practices, improve access to food, reduce food waste, and develop policies that promote food security for all, while considering the increasing demands of a growing population.
What is the relationship of population growth to sustainability? So, population growth directly affects sustainability in multiple ways. Firstly, an increasing population puts pressure on natural resources such as water, land, energy resources. This strain can lead to overexploitation, habitat destruction, and depletion of essential resources, jeopardizing the ability of ecosystem to regenerate and support life in the long term. Secondly, population growth influences consumption patterns and waste generation. Higher population densities often correlate with higher levels of consumption and waste production, exacerbating pollution and contributing to climate change. To achieve sustainability, it's crucial to address population growth alongside implementing strategies for resources conservation, equitable access to resources, and sustainable development practices. By managing population growth and promoting sustainable lifestyle, we can strive towards a more balanced and resilient future for both humanity and the planet.
So, good day everyone. So, I am Engine Cadet Manangkil Charles Titus. So, I am here today to report what is the relationship of the population growth and development. So, population growth and development are interconnected phenomena that exert significant influence on each other. So, this my report uh, aims to explore an intricate relationship between population's growth and development, elucidating how they impact various societal, economic, and environmental aspects. So, population growth and economic development. Population growth can serve as a both driver and a challenge for economic development. On one hand, a growing populations can fuel economic growth by expanding the labor force, stimulating demand, and fostering innovations. Conversely, rapid populations growth constrain resources, lead to the employment, and exacerbate poverty, hindering development efforts. Too. So, effective policies addressing educational, healthcare, and employment opportunities are crucial for leveraging the potential benefits. So, next is population growth and social development. So, population growth influence social development outcomes such as educational, healthcare, and social cohesions. High population growth rates constrain social service, healthcare system, and educational infrastructures, impeding effort to improve human capital and well-being. Investment in educational, healthcare, and social protections program.
So, hello everyone, and for today we will be talking about what are the relationship of population growth to the future of globalization. Now, population growth can significantly impact the future of globalization. As population grows, there's a potential for increased demand for goods and services, which can drive globalization as companies seek new markets. Additionally, a larger population means a larger labor force, which can fuel economic growth and trade. However, population growth also brings challenges such as resource scarcity and environmental pressures, which could potentially hinder globalization efforts if not managed successfully. A growing population means more consumers, which can lead to increased demand for goods and services. This demand can drive companies to expand their operations globally to access new markets and capitalize on the growing consumer base. As a result of globalization, characterized by interconnectedness of economies and markets, can be further propelled. A larger population also means a larger labor force, which can contribute to the economic growth and productivity. This increased labor force can attract foreign investments and facilitate the movement of labor across borders, leading to greater international trade and integration of economies. So on the flip side, rapid population growth can strain natural resources and exacerbate environmental challenges such as climate change, deforestation, and pollution. These pressures can hinder globalization efforts by creating instability in supply chains, disrupting production processes, and increasing costs for businesses operating across borders. And population growth can also drive migration, leading to cultural exchange and diversity in societies. Migration can both foster globalization by facilitating the flow of ideas, knowledge, and talent across borders, and pose challenges such as cultural tensions and socio-economic disparities. So, in summary, while population growth can fuel globalization through increased market demand and labor force expansion, it also brings challenges such as resource scarcity and environmental pressures. These challenges are addressed through policy responses will ultimately determine the trajectory of globalization in the future.